Losing the closest person in my life set me on a real lonely path. 1 year ago, I was having some pretty dark thoughts about life, which I'm not proud to admit. But I was scared, confused, and alone. Strangely enough, I found comfort in YouTube. I reached out to the entire planet through YouTube, and the world really supported me. It was what I'd been missing. A year later, I'm sponsored by Gymshark, and I've been asked to be featured in the My Vision series. To me, that's testament enough to where my vision has taken me. What is up, YouTube? Today I'm going to...
I was the first ever Gymshark athlete. I remember the first ever t-shirts and the first ever stringers and helping figure out what needed changing, what to adjust, and then being part of that first ever body power show and just thinking, this is going to be something special. I think what brought us together was a like-minded vision, mine for the lifestyle, the fitness and the nutrition that athletes should be following, and their game-changing plans for the future. Now the game has changed, and my life with it. As an athlete that was part of a company that was very different to the one that exists today, it would have been all too easy for Gymshark to move on from me, to forget their roots. But that has never been the case. The Gymshark family is no gimmick. Once you're part of this family, it will change your life.
I can't lie and say I set out with a plan to be where I am now, that I believed in myself and made it a reality. I didn't. I don't think I had a vision. I think my success came from making a lot of the wrong decisions. I got to a place in my life where I didn't feel good about how I looked or felt, so I forced myself to make a change which gave me the opportunity to reach out to thousands of other women around the world. A change which saw me completely turning my life around. A change which led me to becoming the first ever female Gymshark athlete. This is where my vision was born.
New York is famous for being a city that will make you or break you. To shine in a place like this, you really have to be something special. Making something of yourself in a city full of people trying to do the same thing takes a huge amount of commitment. But sometimes, just one inspirational person or one tiny moment can change your life. I'm Doug Sensor Martin, I'm 21 years old, and I'm a Gymshark athlete.
The term vision these days seems to be associated with material things and lifestyle goals. Our vision when we got started wasn't a tangible thing you could touch. It was a feeling and a motivation to inspire and change the game. Luckily, there was a couple guys over in England with a similar vision. We got together and 3 years later, we changed the game and we're loving every fucking second of it.
There's a distance between us. It's getting hard to reach out. Haven't seen you in seasons, but all I hear is your voice. I know my limits, you can break me down, but I'll stay till the finish line. And I've been counting minutes for quite some time now, just to see you again. And I've been counting days to get away, to see you again, see you again. Been fighting ways to get away, again. We got millions of reasons to let it all go. Hope we're not too broken. I know I'm not always strong, and I've been counting days to get away, to see you again, see you again. Been finding ways to get away, to see you again, see you again.
I grew up in a small town outside of San Antonio, Texas, Seguin. It was a small country town, and as soon as I graduated, I ran off to San Antonio itself because it was a bigger city. I just wanted to get away from the small town vibe, and I didn't know anyone or anything when I went out there. So I ended up, I was convinced to go to community college because it was less expensive, and I got a job waiting tables. But I just did not enjoy community college life. I didn't really enjoy the atmosphere, the attitude of the people. It was very, I didn't love it. I didn't want to be there, so I stopped going. And so all I did was wait tables, and I went with $5 or $6 in my bank account at a time, and I'd put that in my gas tank just to make it to work. And I was literally just working to live, just to exist. I had no goals, no savings account, no aspirations. And I ended up just turning to alcohol and going out every night to get over my frustrations. And so my friends and I would just go out every night of the week. I was always hungover, always miserable, and that's all I did. That was my outlet. Alcohol's a depressant, so I mean, I was obviously just very down on myself, and that continued for years of my life, from 18 to 22. I just I didn't know what I was doing. And I would give anything to get those years of my life back, but I can't. And it was really hard times. There was a point where I woke up and I looked at myself in the mirror, and I was so tired of feeling like crap in the morning. I never felt awake or healthy or alive, and I didn't like what I saw when I looked in the mirror. And I had tried running and things like that previously. I'd gotten a gym membership and never actually consistently went, so I always dropped it. And I had never actually done anything in high school or middle school or any of my younger schooling athletic. I never did a sport or anything. Marching band was my PE credit in high school. So this was the first time that I decided I was gonna go try to lift weights. And I had just seen some stuff online with some other kind of fitness models. It wasn't as big of a thing in 2012, but I had seen some other fitness models that said they lifted heavy weights and got the physique they wanted, and I liked how they looked. So I got a gym membership at this place down the road, and it was essentially like the retirement center of San Antonio because there was no one in my gym under like 60 years old. So I went by myself every single day to the gym and started lifting weights. And it was very addicting to me because I saw results quite quickly, and it was fun because it wasn't just going and running mindlessly on a treadmill for hours. It was like I got to do different things, different exercises, different body parts, and it was really fun to me. And it became my outlet, and I replaced alcohol with lifting weights. It was difficult because none of my friends were into that. They were still going out, they were still drinking, so I would literally go to work. I'd get off at 11:30 p.m. and I would go to the gym after that, and I would just go work out while all my friends went out. So it was kind of hard. I had to essentially lose my friends to get this lifestyle, and it was very lonely. So I ended up turning to social media to kind of find some support because I wasn't getting that from my friends and the people I was around. I started a Tumblr account, which is a type of blog type platform. And I also started posting my progress pictures and things on Instagram, which wasn't as popular then. It wasn't a thing to really have a fitness Instagram, so my friends made fun of me quite a bit for it. But it was my support system. It was how I felt strangers held me accountable, and they supported me and they uplifted me, and that was how I kept going and I stayed strong because I didn't really have that support around me at the time. After working out for about 6 or 7 months, I decided to enter my first NPC bikini competition. I was encouraged by my social media support online and whatnot, and even though it was very lonely physically and in person, and it was a very difficult experience to do alone, I had that support, and it was still better than waking up hungover and miserable every single day.
Run free and dive into the sky. Hear the wind crying out its prayer. Why are we so ashamed to be alive? Break the chains and our freedom's ours to take. Look behind your back. Chase a light when the world is getting darker. I have a dream where love's the only side. So take my hand, join the army of the shadows. Going harder, we are more than numbers. Standing in the shade. Going louder, we are all one color. Standing in the way. Join the army of the shadows. Join the army of the shadows. Join the army of the shadows. Shadows, shadows. Join the army of the shadows. Join the army of the shadows. Going harder, we are more than numbers. Standing in the shade. Going louder, we are all one color. Standing in the way.
I was very, very skinny. I'm talking 5'10", 5'11", right at about 110 pounds. So I was very small, and I've been really skinny all my life, you know, quote unquote ectomorph. And I wanted to get bigger, get stronger, and so started training for strength, for size, and I fell in love with it.
So for me, I grew up in a large family. So physical fitness has always been, I've been doing workouts since I was a kid. I'm one of 7. My dad was a high school basketball coach and then an athletic director. So our kind of family activities were going out to the track, doing things with my older brothers and sisters in the gym, in the basketball gym. But the minute I touched weights, when I was about 12 or 13, electricity. It was like love at first touch.
You know, moving into college, my first year of college is when it was almost a new start. You know, I didn't have the same friends, it was a new environment, and I was still shy. It was so hard to break into it, and so I looked up to a lot of people online. I looked up to people like Greg Plitt, yourself, Steve Cook. I looked up to these people that I saw and I was looking to for advice and for, you know, information, and I just grew the confidence to order myself a camera. I never thought that I would be able to do what I'm doing now or reach the people that I am now, but I just wanted to document my own progress and share my journey and start tracking it. I didn't have an incredible physique. I was 19, skinny. I was, you know, not much muscle mass. I wasn't shredded, but I thought that it would be good to share the experience.
The moment I kind of realized that this is what I wanted to do, or what I was looking at doing, is I was 24 years old. I had just gotten divorced and I was done playing college football. I was a 4-year starter in college, and football was kind of what I really identified with. Like, that's who I was. I was a football player. I thought I was going to play in the NFL. Injury and just not being, at the end of the day, qualified enough to play in the NFL led me to kind of a realization of I didn't know what I wanted to be. And this also came about because I was married at 21 years old. We got divorced at 24. And I was left kind of looking in the mirror like, you know, who are you? You're not a football player anymore. What do you have to offer? And it was, you know, I didn't have a lot of self-confidence at that time. You know, there was things that went on in my marriage that you know, I felt like I wasn't where I wanted to be in life. And I was probably pretty hard on myself, but it was that kind of moment that I looked at something and I picked a bodybuilding show. And I thought, I'm gonna give this everything that I have, because I've seen the kind of results that I can get in the gym, and I know if I can go into the gym and work my butt off for this goal, I can then take that same mentality and apply it to any other area of life. And everyone said, you know, Steve, there's no money in this. There's no money in fitness modeling. And I was thinking, you know, the whole time, I don't want to be a fitness model. This is my foot in the door to be really a fitness spokesperson or somebody that can change people's lives. And I wanted to do it on the ground level. I wanted to meet people at expos. I wanted to talk to them about my story. I had so many people tell me, you know, I've gone through what you did. How did you get over that breakup? Or how did you get over that divorce? And at the end of the day, like, everyone goes through, we all share the common thread of going through struggles in life. And it's how you deal with those struggles. It's how you deal with getting over those stumbling blocks. And I think that for me, it was holding on to that vision of what I wanted down the road. I know there's always going to be hiccups. There's always going to be things that are setbacks. But it's just more of an opportunity to pick yourself up, learn from it, and then ultimately be a better version of yourself.
I think that it's very important to note that you're not always going to have everyone's support. There's going to be people that tell you it's a dumb idea. There's going to be people that say you're not going to be able to make a living doing what you want to do, or that there's no money in that, or just bringing you down. And I think it's so crucial, it's imperative to surround yourself with people that share the same vision that you do. And thankfully for me, having the support of my friends, my family, Gymshark believed in me before any other company. They believed in me when I was starting out with my channel, staying consistent and uploading. And I can honestly say that I don't think I would be here without the help of Gymshark.
So I will say one thing, you know, we meet hundreds of people, yearly thousands of people, and you know, it makes up for it when at the end of the day, like, if there's one kid that comes up, just one kid comes up and says, you know, I've lost, you know, 40 pounds, 50 pounds, or I've changed my life. That's what actually makes it more worth. No magazine cover is worth that. No amount of followers are worth that. At the end of the day, it's that person who's changed their life. And I think that's what, you know, we try to embody. And I think that's why, obviously, these guys had that line today. Just simply amazing. Happy family, happy fit fam. Woo! Hey, it's time to go eat. Chipotle. I had heard of Gymshark, but it wasn't until I saw Christian and Mark and really their online social presence grow with Gymshark that I realized it was a force to be reckoned with. And right off the bat, the clothing didn't jump out at me, but what it was is kind of the vision. And when I spoke with the owners about when we were talking about where they wanted to go with the brand, and when they told me where they wanted to go, I knew it was something I wanted to be on board with. And sitting here today in this shirt, this is exactly what I had hoped for. And just the tenacity in which they go after things. They set a goal, and I know they're gonna do it. They're young, they're visionary, and they're gonna work like hell. And that's kind of what I wanna surround myself with. People that aren't afraid to work, that aren't afraid to put in the long hours. Because at the end of the day, like when I'm traveling or at an expo, my life is not normal, and I don't want it to be, but it's the price you pay to create something that's gonna be long lasting. The price you pay to be different in this world. And I think that while we are all different, everyone shares a little bit of that. I'm an individual. I want to be me, and I want others to recognize that who I am is significant. And I think everybody has that in them. Everyone has that light, you could say, in them that makes them unique, and whatever it is. And the guys from Gymshark recognize that not only in me, but in their other athletes. And they really do a good job of promoting and sharing and pushing not only their visions, but helping other athletes create their vision, their brands, their market. And that's, for me, it was like looking into a mirror of what I wanted my brand to be. Really, it's a feel, it's a movement that at the end of the day, you go to an expo and the Gymshark line at the end of the day is sets itself apart by the energy that they're kind of giving to the crowd. And people at expos feed off of it. And there's a reason why you go there and it's so busy. And people always ask me, what is it with Gymshark? Like, yeah, it's clothing, but is it really that much better? And while I say, the clothing is great, what sets it apart is really that intangible feeling of they know what they want, and there's nothing that's going to stop us at Gymshark from creating the lives we all want to live. And it even gives me just chills sitting here talking about it. We're in a hot, humid warehouse, and I have chills talking about that vision.
can still remember it like it was yesterday. It was December 20th, and my mom had passed away. She passed away from a terminal illness. She had colon cancer, and it was a really long battle. She battled for about 1.5 years. And to put it short, my mom was my best friend. She was my world. She was a single mom. My dad, not a part of my life. So just her and I, growing up, we had a really, really strong relationship. After she passed away, it felt like everything in my life was just falling apart right in front of me. Like all the control I once had was just slipping out of my hands. And I had my brother, I had my aunt, I had family to be there and support me and help me through this. I wasn't alone. But regardless, losing a parent is one of the most painful experiences that anybody could ever go through, especially when it's the only parent you have. And so naturally, I fell into a really, really, really deep depression. I didn't want to socialize with anybody. I would sleep for 12 hours a day. I didn't want to go to work. I didn't want to go to school. I was just losing myself completely. And on top of that, I fell right into an eating disorder. And the eating disorder didn't come on because I was unhappy with my body or I felt overweight or anything like that. It was merely that I felt like I had lost control of every aspect of my life after she passed away, that the amount of food that I took in or how frequently I was eating, that felt like the one thing that I could control and that nobody could tell me would change. It was my thing. And when you get into that mentality, it's really, really dangerous. I went from 105 to 110 pounds, and I dropped down to 80 to 85 pounds. So it was really, really terrible on my body. And I remember going to the hospital for an annual checkup, and my doctor looked at me and said, if you keep this up, like if you keep doing this to your body, you're already having issues with your period. You're eventually going to take away any chance at having kids one day. And so if that's not a clear indication that I was completely destroying my body, I don't know what is. So this depression and this eating disorder really took over the last 3-4 years of my life after she passed away, and I was just in a really, really, really dark place. Around this time, I had just started working at a salon. I had just finished up maybe 2 years prior getting my license as a cosmetologist, and it was kind of weird because I was really not making a lot of money. Obviously, I was assisting, and as an assistant, you don't really make very much money, and I was realizing that I wasn't really passionate about what I had just gone to school for 1.5 years now. So I guess I was really just looking for like a means of escape. And so I was really just looking for something that would bring me some sort of happiness again and give me something to be excited about again. And I guess that's kind of when I really started to get into YouTube. I started filming my videos in December, and it really started as just a hobby, as just something, like I said, to be excited about again. I was finding fitness. It was just this whole new journey.
Hi, my name is Jasmine. I'm 20 years old. I am from the Bay Area, and I am a 3DMJ athlete. If you're watching this video, I'm assuming your friends and family.
Then it just started to pick up, like in a way I would have never imagined. And one day I remember, it had probably been 3 to 4 months of having my YouTube channel, and I was starting to pay attention to the monetization on YouTube, and I was like, oh, okay, like I'm actually making some money from this. And I started comparing what I was making from YouTube to my paycheck at work, where I was, going 30 to 40 hours a week, and I was like, this is really starting to level out. It's becoming the same thing, and it blew my mind because YouTube was only taking
2 to 3 hours of like joyful commitment of editing in front of the computer and filming these videos and just having fun, and then this other weights that I was making at the salon with so much work. I mean, the fact that it was just adding up and becoming almost the same, I was like, okay, I can go somewhere with this. Like, this can become something. So that was it. I basically just went into my job one day, sat my bosses down, and told them that I was going to be pursuing YouTube full time. So here we are now, 90,000 subscribers and over 4 million views on my YouTube channel, and this is what I get to wake up and do every single day. It's kind of crazy when I think about it all, because I originally started with watching Nikki Blacketer, and I remember coming across her YouTube videos and thinking to myself, wow, like this is so cool. This girl gets to give these really natural pep talks on her channel, getting girls through rough times, and now I look at myself and that's what I get to do. The most difficult part of my job these days is making sure that I am building a relationship with my audience and making sure that I'm connecting with them in a raw way where they actually feel like they are getting something from the videos that they watch. You know, I don't want people to just watch my videos because they want to watch them. You know, I want them to make sure they're getting something from these videos and that it's benefiting their lives in some way. Oddly enough, I can actually still remember the first time that I saw Gymshark apparel. I was at the gym with a bunch of friends, and one of them had on some track pants, and obviously across it on the leg it said Gymshark, and I was like, what is Gymshark? And he looked at me and he's like, you don't know what Gymshark is? I was like, I have no idea. He seemed so offended. He immediately pulled up the Instagram and the website for me, and I was just scrolling through and I thought it was just the coolest thing ever. It was apparel for women that actually was really, really flattering. The guys all had this really put together, stylish look. It was the first time that I really saw fashion get tied in with gym apparel, and I fell in love with it. So at the time, all I could afford was to buy myself a couple pieces from Gymshark. I had gotten my first 2 tank tops at the LA Fit Expo, so you can imagine my surprise when I got an email from the head of sponsorships at Gymshark, basically inviting me to become an affiliate for the brand. And basically as an affiliate, it starts off as just receiving commission. You put your discount code up there and people are able to make purchases through there. Within about a month, I got a follow-up email from him saying, I have some exciting news for you. And I'm like, oh my gosh, like don't get too excited, Jasmine, this might not be anything. And then he took forever to respond, and then I get another email about an hour later saying that they wanted to obviously invite me on as an athlete. And I remember calling my best friend and just crying on the phone, not like ugly tears, just pure happiness, like just so much excitement, because I really never thought that that was going to be possible. And so to see that happening right in front of me in an email, I was so emotional over it. And for me, what was so great about it was all the doubts that I had prior about my YouTube and about this decision I made to create this new career path for myself really kind of put it all to rest, because getting to work with Gymshark and work alongside athletes like Christian Guzman, Nikki Blacketer, Steve Cook, the list just goes on and on. It really validates everything that I've decided to do this far, leaving my job, pursuing this career with YouTube. It not only was the right decision, but it was probably the best decision that I have ever made. And although I haven't been able to go to the expos yet or travel with them, I'm so excited to see what this year will bring and to really just get to grow with the brand. I can truly say that this is the happiest that I have ever been, and I really, really believe that my mom would be so proud and so excited for me.
When I worked at LA Fitness for 2.5 years, I met a good friend there. His name was Dennis. And Dennis was a fitness fanatic. He was obsessed with all the bodybuilders, the Steve Cooks, the Christian Guzmans, all those guys. He wanted to be just like them. And it was really interesting because when I was a pro gamer, I traveled to Columbus, Ohio, and that same weekend that I was playing in a tournament, there was the Arnold Fit Expo. And my friend called me when I was at this tournament and said, "Doug, I want to go out to this expo. Can we go on the Sunday? I know you have nothing to do. Can we go?" And I said, "Yeah, let's go, Dennis. Why not?" And when we went there, the first thing we did was go on the line for Steve Cook. But once you walk past his booth, after you finish talking to him, you see this big booth for Gymshark, this massive booth. And the two of my favorite most YouTubers there, the Hodge twins. They're standing there with their Gymshark pants on, shirtless, and they have this huge line of people standing there waiting to see them and take pictures with them. And I was thinking to myself, man, why can't that be me? I just kept thinking, what if I could be that guy, that fitness gamer that is able to show all these people in the world that you could be a professional gamer and win on the highest level and also be in shape. After some time, it was funny because 2 months later, 3 months later, I got an email from Gymshark, and Gymshark said, "Hey Doug, we really want to sponsor you, we really want to start working with you." And I was ecstatic because obviously it's a thought in my head, but it was a long shot. Obviously I want to do all these great things, but I didn't have a big social media following. It was okay, but it wasn't anything special. I mean, it'd be a lot easier for them to just go out and find another person who has way more followers than me that could instantly get them more revenue, but they decided to choose me. And then that's when it clicked to me that we have the same mindset, that I'm a gamer that was skinny, that had nothing going for him, and I wanted to make something more of myself, and I really felt that I could, and they saw that potential in me. I like to think that I broke the mold when it came to being a gamer and being out of shape, the stereotypical fat loser gamer that sits in his mom's basement, and Gymshark definitely broke the mold. They went into a market that's saturated with so much competition, and they were able to carve out their own reputation of so many like-minded individuals that share the same passions and beliefs, and they developed a family that I could gladly say that I'm now a part of. 1 year ago, I was standing on a line for 2 hours to meet Steve Cook as a fan, and now I'm going to be standing next to him as a Gymshark athlete at the next fitness expo. That's insane.
Fill me out with your smile, while the sunshine brings the light. Fill me out with a flame, I will let you win this game. Take me out when I'm down, 'cause with you I'm safe and sound, 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 safe and sound.
Started for me when I got dumped by my 7th grade girlfriend. She handed me a note. I remember reading it on the bench. Finished the note, and while I was still sad, this bully came up, ripped it up right in front of me. That summer, I decided that I was going to come back into the 8th grade completely different. I knew that I wanted to get abs, specifically just abs. I didn't know I didn't know I could work out my other muscles. I just wanted some abs, and I knew that I thought that I'd probably get more girlfriends that way. And every single night, the entire summer, when my parents thought I was asleep, I'd just be in my bedroom listening to this like 6-minute abs CD and just doing the routine. Eventually I memorized the routine. I didn't have to listen to the CD anymore. I would just listen to music. I remember that same song. I know exactly how it sounds. And every night I just do my abs. I came back in 8th grade, and of course, abs had nothing to do with me getting more girls. I had just become more confident, and I did get some more girlfriends, but in 8th grade, nothing really happens, of course.
You know, going into high school, I never really realized how kind of out of shape I was until I got a reality check. And that came in junior year, so 11th grade, when my buddy Brock, he was the linebacker for the varsity football team for my high school. And you know, just one of the best players. He's going to play ball in college and all that. So he was a buddy of mine in math class, and he just persuaded me to go try out for football. You know, I was kind of intimidated. I knew, you know, you needed to be stronger and faster and really athletic to play football. So at first I just said, no way, you know, I don't want to try that, because I had never lifted a weight in my life or anything. And from there, he persuaded me. So I just said, you know what, let's do it. I went out. I remember 1 or 2 days in, they were actually doing testing on the players to see what players' max bench press, max squats, and max body weight dips were, just to have a benchmark, you know, for to compare to from the beginning of the season. So everybody started warming up, you know, bench pressing 95 pounds, just doing a few reps, getting ready for their 1 rep max attempt. And I remember seeing it like, oh, everyone's doing this. This is pretty easy. It's got to be easy, even though I had never done it. So I hopped on, and I remember unracking 95 pounds, and it literally buckled my elbows, and it crushed me. It almost crushed my sternum in, and they had to come and pull the bar off me, and it was terrible. It was a bad experience. I was like, wow, I'm really not built for this. And at that point is when I realized, this weight training stuff, man, this is not for me. You know, these football guys are on another level, and despite it being a reality check kind of in a negative way, that I realized I wasn't as strong as I wanted to be, or anywhere near as strong as even any of these other kids. It definitely and literally built a fire under my ass that I've never had in my life before. And I didn't really know it at the time, but that is what sparked everything.
So fast forward to sophomore year, I started a weight training class. I was really fortunate that in this weight training class we were taught how to lift properly, how to lift safely, and during that year I gained 20 pounds, basically pure muscle. And same with the next year. I really had no idea of where I wanted to get my physique. I honestly just wanted to improve every single day and just get stronger every single day.
You know, the little money I had saved up, you know, in high school, I decided, you know what, I'm going to put it towards my first gym membership. So I went to the local gym, signed up for my membership, and that summer, my summer vacation from school was about 3 months, so let's say about 90 days. For those 90 days, without missing a single day, so 7 days a week, I do abs and biceps for an hour and a half every day, 7 days a week, and run on the treadmill. So that was literally my routine, 7 days a week for 3 months, was treadmill, abs, and biceps. And that's all I knew. I literally did nothing else.
So after lifting about 4 or 5 years, I decided I wanted to start putting myself out there on YouTube. It's crazy because when I began, there was nobody else doing what I was doing. Nowadays, you have just tons and tons of people that you can follow on Instagram, YouTube, and so on. And there's so many different models that you can follow, and you could aspire to become like them. You know that there's money in it now. You can see it physically, people with their cars, their clothes, and so on. You know that you can make a ton of money. I had no idea what the money looked like, if there was any. I just wanted to give people value for free. And if something came from that and gave me back money or whatever, awesome, that's cool, but yeah.
Good morning, ladies and gents. It is very early. We are off to Lake Tahoe, the world famous Lake Tahoe, at the end of the snowboarding season to get some snowboarding in. Some of us haven't even done it, but we're excited to go out and kill it. So let's get it. Sure.
Towards the end of 2012 was when Legends of Aesthetics was created. We started this new movement to start educating people on some science-based approaches to nutrition and training.
The collaboration was strong. It was still early in the whole understanding of macro. I mean, would you say it was even recognized at that point still, the macro thing? That was still
it was really niche.
Yeah,
super
very
niche.
small still. So our vision was to really globalize it. And in the meantime, we had two people across the globe with a similar vision of changing the game in a slightly different way.
Well, yeah, so typically with a fitness company, whether it's supplements or clothing or whatever it may be, the typical thing to advertise or to bring awareness to that company is to just hire, or was, to just hire the most jacked, attractive, popular, the IFBB pros and Mr. Olympias, hire them and then have them advertise.
So we didn't have, any big expectations or anything. We didn't know what to expect when we went to the UK for the first Body Power in 2013. We were just happy to do it, traveling internationally, meeting a new group of people. And Matt and I are, super good friends, figured, hey, why not? We're trying to change the game. Why not travel international?
Stoked,
and do our thing. I remember, dude, we even made our own, crush a gym session and did some cool build up for the expo. Remember that? Just a bunch of promotion but still just looking at it as with an open mind and just going out there to just have fun and kill it and see what we make of it. But we had never been to a fitness expo before, so we really didn't expect to see what we saw.
You remember that? It was crazy. They opened the doors, it was like the floodgates just opened. And at first we were like, oh cool, the doors opened. Yeah. And then all of a sudden we were surrounded, and it was like, this many people know us?
It's like the running of the bulls from Spain.
And eventually people were like, dude, I'm gonna use my British accent. Your queue was longer than Kai Grains. It was humbling. We had no idea. We're just two regular dudes from California who made a few YouTube videos. And it was
I think that was the realization that those numbers are actually people with lives, and then that's when we came to terms with, wow, those people exist and they're here.
True.
So it was just literally madness. I remember the two owners were there sweating bullets, just trying to sell as fast as possible, sell this clothing. Yeah. The clothes was just flying off the racks. And keep in mind, these guys that started this are even younger than us. They were under 20 years old, less than 20 years old.
It's crazy to see just how many people are now following some of the things that we've been preaching these last few years, the science-based nutrition and training, and everyone's making Instagram profiles and starting their own little fitness journeys and competitions and building up their subscribers and YouTube, and everyone's putting in a lot of work, and it's really cool. It's inspiring to see. And one of the most common things I get is Matt, how do I build something just like you've built? And I really don't want to answer that, because I don't want that person to try to be who I am and build what I've built, or to try to emulate and build what Gymshark's built, because that's what they did, and what you're going to do is completely different perhaps.
So again, it's not about you trying to be Matt Ogus. It's not about you trying to be Chris Lovato, you trying to be the people who started Gymshark. You have to understand what it is that really makes you happy, something that that drives you to work without worrying about what it's going to get you in the future. It should be something that makes you happy now. Whatever ends up getting you, wherever that takes you, it doesn't matter, but chances are it's going to be good, because you're going to be happy doing it along the way. And that's the most important thing, not having Matt's vision, not having my vision, having your vision and capitalizing.
So ever since I was little, I've always been physically orientated and towards the thing of My mother would, if I was cranky, send me out on a run, and that would calm me down. I'd come back, I'd be happy, you know, I'd be helpful probably more than anything. And I think everything from that moment of being a child and involved in sports through school and things like that is very clear. That's what I enjoyed doing. As I was getting older, I was starting to also involve myself more in the gym life, I suppose, as it was, as in terms of going to the gym, caring about my physique, caring about my health, in terms of how do I feel I look in the mirror, how do I feel about myself, is there anything I'd like to change? Not because of feeling inadequate in any way, like a lot of people feel it's more of a, what would I like to change, can I change it, and then setting that goal. And this is the kind of what sport and fitness and everything is to me. It's the ability to be able to set goals, set challenges, and achieve those goals. If you have the ability to change something and you don't take that chance to change it, you have no rights to ever complain about that again. I completed my degree, qualified as a fitness instructor, and at the same time was working another job within security, within, you know, clubs and pubs and all that in the UK scene. And one of the guys there was a Thai boxer, so he took me into the Thai, and what I got on there with was the level of respect and again teamwork that goes into if you're walking into a dojo of any kind. It's called fighting, but fighting sounds so aggressive when the level of respect within that room is huge, and the fact that they welcome new people through a door that they don't know and bring them into this little family, it was just, it's an overwhelming experience. If you ever put yourself within such a tight-knit little family and a team, and they have people around you helping you, supporting you and pushing you forward to challenge yourself, when you don't think you can do something, you get frustrated and they just settle you down and push you forward again and push you forward again. And it makes you realize that when you have the right people around you and when you're doing something you love, things you thought were impossible become very possible and in fact surpassable. Ended up picking it up pretty quickly, and long story short, after a few months of training there, I got coerced into maybe having a go at a little tournament. And at the time it was an old school, one of those old fashioned ones where it was a you fight, you stay on kind of thing. And I had 5 fights in one day and ended up winning this little local tournament. So 4 years on, I'm still fighting in MMA, and it's part of my life, it's part of my world. And I had a title fight. I dropped down from pro fighting down to semi-pro to get this title shot because it was, you know, it was another goal, another achievement to hit. And long story short, the fight ended up being a no contest due to a referee error. It was a massive come down, huge, and it was a bit of an eye-opener and a realization as to what am I doing this for and why. And it was more part of the challenge and the love of sport in general that I was doing it for. And at the same time, I was given an opportunity to go down to London and do some shooting for a well-known magazine, a fitness magazine. You know, when something bad happens in your life, when something really does crush you, short term, yes, that's terrible and it can really affect you. But long term, sometimes those things that at the time seem bad are some of the best things to ever happen to you, because they create and mold your future in a way that might not have ever happened otherwise. You know, maybe I was given an opportunity in life at that point and I took that opportunity, and that was where I came into the whole front of the fitness world and putting myself out there for people to see me as something to look toward in terms of fitness and maybe lifestyle and things like that. And that's where it led me to giving myself new goals and new challenges, one of which was to compete in a bodybuilding show. Hi guys, this is Lex from NBR Natural Bodybuilding Recognition. This is my little blog for the questions that you've been asking regarding the diet front. Obviously, I'm competing now in Muscle Mania on 31st of July, so we're not too far, about 2 weeks out now. So it was for these shows that I was getting ready for. I was, you know, when I started, I was completely bro. You know, I was doing everything. It was the classic, you know, sacrifice to win style. Heavy training, heavy cardio, low food, sacrifice to win. And it started to grind me down a little bit. And having the biology degree background, I was always very interested in looking into the nutritional side of things again. And it was within one video that I put up, and I'm 2 weeks out from the show, and it's at this point most people are coming towards the worst in these times. You know, they get very tired, they're looking very drawn, and here's me sat in the sunshine outside in the back garden of the house, shades on, having a barbecue. And I had a good physique, you know, I was very lean, I was very aesthetically appealing, and so people started to take note that I'm looking like this whilst having a barbecue, eating the usual British things, sausages and white bread and whatnot. And the owners of Gymshark stumbled across this video, looked into who I was, and it was actually that one video, that one point in time, that video that I put online, put myself out there for other people to see that there are ways of doing things that you love and maintaining your life and balance. And it was this they cottoned onto, this they saw was a little bit different, that made them get in contact. And that was the first part where myself and Gymshark came together. When I say Gymshark at this point, we're talking about a couple of guys with a great idea who had just started out. They were printing their own stringers and t-shirts at their parents' house. They would send me some of the items that they were thinking of making, so they would literally have these items made, then they would print them themselves, send them to me. I'd wear them, literally train, test them from every angle I could, and then I would send back my own ideas as to saying, you know, there needs to be a couple of inches here, tightening in at the waist. If we could just take an inch off the strap either side, that's going to make it sit a little better. They'd take back on board what I'd say to them, and every time another item would come by, it just got better and better and better. And it was clear that, you know, we were progressing in a really fun way, but it was always going to be something great, but it was also something we enjoyed doing. You know, it was fun to see what changed from the simple ideas we took to the next step, the next step, the next step. You can see it now in today. They've continued to innovate, they've continued to keep surpassing themselves in ideas, and that's what it's about. When people say family, it's not a gimmick. This isn't, we say it ourselves because it's the only way you can describe it, whether it be the people behind the cameras, in front of the cameras, us that you see on a daily basis, or the people that are wearing the products as well. You're representing a movement, a lifestyle, a feeling. Because I have people coming up and showing me a picture of what they were like, and there's this other person stood in front of you, this happy, smiling person stood in front of you who has lost maybe 60, 70 pounds, weight you can't even fathom losing, and they stood there smiling, so happy. And to think that you've had any part in changing that person's life for the better is huge, and that was fueled by what Gymshark created. They allowed me to have everything that I have today. I love what I do on a daily basis. I wake up and I don't not enjoy anything about the day. Hard work is only hard work when it's something you don't love doing. And I even met my partner, Lainey. We met through, it's a small link, but it was a link nonetheless that was Gymshark. And it was a simple fact that they sent her some clothing, which put her onto me. And as a result, over time, we connected through Gymshark. And we've been together 2 years now. We have a fantastic life. We have two little dogs. We have a little family, you know. And it's crazy to think, again, all this just came from this moment with Gymshark, this commitment that we gave to one another. And there's no way of thanking them other than carrying on doing what I'm doing and trying to show people, trying to help others see, you know, this is not just a brand, this is a movement.